People with OnlyFans, have you ever been randomly recognized in public? If so, what happened? There's a girl I work with that intentionally gives out her OnlyFans info where she works at. She did it at her prior job as well. I think it's either to control the situation or for the added revenue stream. But it spread like wildfire in a place that employs 1,200 people. And I'm shocked she still works there. Story 2. Recently in my day job, I had a new client who I was having Zoom meetings with, and she was a dame. She knew my voice. She keeps bringing it up every week, asking if I've done radio, podcasts, voiceover work. She keeps joking she will get to the bottom of the mystery somehow. I started making audio for women and built up a pretty solid following during subsequent lockdowns last year. After she brought this up, I checked my Patreon subs and she subscribed to me 9 months ago with her work email. I honestly am just waiting for the penny to drop. Story 3. My wife knew a coworker who was fired for filming herself on a vacant hospital bed for her OnlyFans account. Someone saw her work badge and reported her. When everyone found out, over half of the staff knew who she was, and some of them even signed up to her OnlyFans. Story 4. Not OnlyFans for me, but I saw an ex on a random adult site once. I asked if she knew or not, since she was an early childhood teacher and it would have cost her her career, and she made out it wasn't her. It had her full face and her tattoos with some of her stuff in the background, so I think she knew the video I was talking about and got embarrassed or something. We slowly stopped talking after that. I remember going through my history about a few weeks later and the video was taken down. Story 5. No answers yet, so I'll chime in. Other way around, I recognized a girl at a party/rave that I'd seen in a professional but alt-amateur style movie. She could tell I recognized her, I'm sure. I just said, I love your work. We became friends. Story 6. Not exactly, but I did recently have a subscriber asking me to text, which was then followed by him disclosing that he actually knows me and was a bit embarrassed. I told him he had nothing to worry about, and in general, I'm a very positive person. He then revealed who he was and was pleasantly surprised it wasn't an ex or something. Just an acquaintance who I'd met a couple of times and overall is a rad guy. I have a couple friends from real life on my page, but same deal, as long as they're respectful, I'm happy to have their support. Story 7. I worked with a nurse who was a high-level administrator and a bit of a hottie. Her husband was an attorney who helped set up movie sites for one of his clients. We were at a conference once, and after a few drinks, she admitted that her butt was a banner for several of the sites. I'd never been to them before, but when I looked at it, it sure looked the shape and color one would expect to be hers. Tame photo and just the one. The next time we got drunk, she told me the same story. Was almost the reverse of what OP was probably going for here. Story 8. I had a guy recognize me. Thankfully, he was pretty chill. He low-key followed me for a bit, then split ways, then sent me a message on OnlyFans saying he saw me. And that was it. Half of my family know what I do. Found out. But almost none of my friends. I imagine it would be awkward if someone actually came up to me and started talking about my line of work. Story 9. Yes, once I was visiting Dallas, a guy came up to me and said he recognized me by the shirt I was wearing. It was creepy because after he said hi, he followed me around the mall. I managed to lose him in a Forever 21. I hope I never experience that again. Story 10. No OnlyFans, but I used to be a cam girl on a popular website, not to be named. Someone used a recording program and shared videos of me during a set on multiple sites, very much against my permission. Well, it got back to my family and other people in the small town I'm from. It's still hard to be seen in public there, and my family disowned me for a number of years due to the shame and embarrassment. All because I was struggling to make ends meet. Story 11. Obligatory not me, but my cousin-in-law works in the industry. We all went out to dinner, and this kid, who couldn't have been more than 20 years old at the time, was at the restaurant with his mom. He keeps eyeing my cousin all shy and doesn't really know what to say, probably didn't want to mention in front of his mom where he recognized her from. Eventually, cousin and the mom were in the bathroom. Mom nicely asked cousin to take a picture with her kid and she agreed. If only mom knew. Story 12. My dad left when I was 7 and we were always told that it just didn't work out with my parents. We saw him on and off for about 2 years, and then he left and I never saw him again. He had remarried and she had a kid that became his stepson that my brother and I would hang with often when we would go to my dad's house. Then when I turned 13, my mom finally told me that the stepson was actually his son from having an affair with that woman. So that kid was my half-brother and I had no clue. Story 13. Not me but a coworker. Apparently, while this coworker was in nursing school, she did hardcore movies prior. A couple of male paramedics/firefighters recognized her and it quickly got around the ER that she was a movie star. She had a fake name and people were sharing it. This nurse was mortified and I may have been one of the only select few who didn't treat her differently after this. I once told my boyfriend at the time this story and he says, "Wow, interesting, what was her name?" "Good try, buddy. I'm not a sellout." Story 14. Not necessarily the same, but my coworker came into the back one day and told me she just got $400 in her PayPal. I asked, how the hell did that happen? To which she said, "I got them money-making feet, baby." This is also the girl who agreed to let me take a picture of her without clothes for a photography project. She's a waitress. Story 15. Well, this is indirectly related, but I once made a joke at work about being busy over the weekend responding to all my OnlyFans followers. The joke is that I'm a 53-year-old male who has never been called handsome, so obviously I'd be responding to women that I follow. But apparently a few people at work thought it was funny/absurd that I should have an OnlyFans account, as in posting my pictures and videos, and I've been trying to find my account ever since. I responded to the question because they told some clients that I had an OnlyFans account, and the clients complained to my boss, who brought me into his office to reprimand me. When I explained that I don't have an account, didn't tell anyone that I did, and only a few people believe that I do, I was happily told to wait while he brought in the ones who did tell the clients. Let me tell you, that was a pretty awesome moment. They actually tried to convince our boss that I was lying, and to check my phone. Story 16. I saw a Snapchat/Instagram model I follow at Trader Joe's who I only recognized due to her gigantic, amazing butt and then her voice. I knew she lived near me, so it wasn't totally out of the realm of possibility that I could have seen her. I messaged her on Snapchat later and she confirmed that she had been there that day. She liked hearing that her butt was recognizable. Story 17. I'll add my story, but it wasn't OnlyFans. I did post on Reddit for 1 year. I also made some friends via Kik. Guess I gave out my town one day because I started getting scary messages. He said I looked really good that day at the grocery store. Then he mentioned that I must love books since I visit the bookstore once a week. So that was the end of that. Blocked, scared out of my mind. I had my child with me every single time. So getting noticed for pictures is a bit awkward, but being stalked was way worse. Story 18. Watched a relationship implode when some guy walked up to a couple on a park bench and told the woman that she looked even better in real life than her pictures on OnlyFans. Boyfriend looked positively stunned and stands up, leaves her there, and she started crying. Not the, "oh, I stubbed my toe real bad and I need to get some pain out" type crying, but the, "I lied to someone and it came back and bit me" type crying. Straight up bawling. It was really awkward because she didn't leave for like half an hour and I can't leave because I'm taking care of my nephew and I'm about to cut his fun time because I feel awkward. Just a bad time for her. Story 19. I was at the store picking up one of those things that cleans off car battery terminals. I was with my husband and kid. A guy who subscribed to me walked into the same area as we were. Didn't say anything to me. He messaged me about an hour later asking if it was me. I said yes and that I appreciated him not saying anything at the store. I wish it was more exciting, to be honest. Story 20. I have 2 instances. One time a dude recognized me at a gas station and said out loud, "You're my favorite star." Mind you, I was only modeling without clothes at the time, so it really threw me off, but I'm glad the place was empty. The other instance, a coworker found my Instagram and brought it up in the break room. He tried to act like he was cool about it, but it was not comfortable. He wasn't obnoxiously loud, but it wasn't hushed at all in a full break room. He was also a problematic employee, so he got fired soon after for making a racist statement to the manager. He may be an unnamed fan of my page, who knows. Story 21. A guy who bought a pair of my used panties lived in my small town that we always stop in when we visit my father-in-law. He recognized me and my husband at the little burger joint / liquor store on the highway from the live shows we would do. We all said hi, laughed about it, and had a good conversation waiting for burgers, and it was nice. Much more normal than you'd expect hearing about a prior used panty transaction. Story 22. Not because of OnlyFans, even if I'm on the platform for 2 years now, but from my verified P-Hub channel. I was buying some street food and at the time a video went viral where I had pink hair and I was coming back from my art studio. A guy approached me very friendly and said how much he loves my work and to keep posting the videos. Very wholesome, respectful, and he just kept walking after it. Later that day he commented on my video saying thanks for being nice. Never had any bad encounters with fans even at conventions. I think Twitch girls get way worse. Story 23. I'm not on OnlyFans, but I've been camming since the first lockdown and I've had a few people come into my guest chat letting me know that they've seen me around town. Not surprising because I'm extroverted and have a big face tattoo. One guy called me by my legal name where anyone else in the chat could see. That was annoying. Technically, nobody who's ever recognized me has actually paid for a show with me or anything. I think they get it in their heads that since I'm local, they'd prefer if I was an intercourse worker, but I would never. Story 24. Back before the internet, I ran into 2 girls I went to high school with in Utah, who were working at a Tampa strip club. I wish there was more to the story, but the one who recognized me first came over after their set and asked me not to tell anyone we knew they were doing it for the money while in school. The other one shrieked and ran off stage and didn't come back out until she'd clothed herself and was the brightest shade of red. Story 25. I don't do OnlyFans, but I do make / sell my own content. I deleted my personal social media accounts when I started modeling. Anyways, I haven't had anyone recognize me in real life, but I've had 3 people I've met in real life message and ask if I'm me. One was a guy from school and he offered to pay for a meetup. Told him I'm online only. It was very uncomfortable and I blocked him afterwards. Now I just block and don't bother replying when they ask me if I'm me. I've told everyone close to me what I do online. My mom and my sisters are super supportive. My boyfriend loves the money, so he's happy for me. Most of my friends ask for help getting started doing what I do. Lastly, if I were to run into a playmate of mine in real life, I would probably act like I had no idea who they were. No hate, I just try to keep my business and personal life separate. Story 26. I've had a handful of different friends find my content and then awkwardly ask me about it. It doesn't bother me usually, so I'll talk about it. But one time, this girl I hardly knew was trying to guilt me into admitting it. I don't know why I was so adamant about denying it was me, so I ended up blocking her. I've also had multiple people on dating apps recognize me and even send screenshots of my videos. I usually block them because I don't want to deal with the possibility of them trying to blackmail me. Story 27. I found an ex on OnlyFans because I looked up her social one day and an alternate Twitter page came up that she uses to promote it. I mean, her handle is pretty much her name and similar to the name she uses on her regular social, so I guess she doesn't exactly hide it. But largely it seems she was unsuccessful since she hasn't logged in since January. It's an oversaturated market now, and it's not the easy money some make it out to be. Really have to be active, promote, make new content every day. It would be a full-time job to get successful at it. I'm sure you have a leg up if you already have a super large social following and are not afraid to reveal yourself to everyone you know. Average person with normal following is gonna have a tough time. But if there's even one person you wouldn't want finding out, I personally wouldn't do it. Props to stars, really. That's a level of fearless I will never know. But it is strange to think that I could continue to get pictures of an ex. I didn't subscribe, honestly, I think she's charging too much. Story 28. It was cool, we messaged on OnlyFans later, we flirted and texted until we eventually met up and did things. She then used the photos from the event in her OnlyFans and posted them online without my permission. I foolishly agreed to photos in the moment, wasn't thinking, and I stopped talking to her. To the thirsty guys following me, a few things. First, I'm a guy. Secondly, I mainly post in D&D and other RPG subreddits, so your follows are likely to be fruitless. Third, I pity any women on this platform who are outed as women, On the mere suspicion I might have been a woman, I instantly started receiving follows and had to field barely restrained questions about someone taking advantage of me. Gross, dudes, be better. Story 29. Not exactly the answer, but I know a ton of people in the industry. One of my friends from teenage years is one of the bigger female stars, and my best friend for many years is a male star who never shows his face but always talks a ton in his videos. The amount of emails and texts I've gotten from people recognizing his voice is hilarious. The thing I want to say is that I'm so desensitized to movies. We were roommates forever, and for the longest time, one of the main P-Hub advertisements was a girl standing in front of a distinctive, one-of-a-kind artwork that belonged to me. I would walk through sets constantly, so to me it wasn't weird at all, except once in a blue moon when a person would be a psycho, but most were normal. But sometimes I would mention this to seemingly cool, left-leaning positive people, and the level of disgust they would have for movie people made me sick, and like suddenly I was some dirty B-word for knowing these people. Story 30. I had an OnlyFans where I'd tell guys what pathetic little worms they were, and the guys would send me gifts via proxy. It was all very fun and an anonymous and a healthy way to expel regular life rage until I got one gift and the guy had forgotten to take his real name off the sender box. That was a fun way to find out that one of my ex's best friends liked doing it to voice messages telling him what a loser he was. Well, that was weird. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have stories of your own, feel free to write them in the comments so I can make a video on them in the future. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.